Hey, everybody, welcome to the Free Lights Podcast. I'm Mick.
I'm Tammy.
We're coming to you live from the Appalachian Mountains right here in the home of Eastern Kentucky. Very excited about tonight's podcast. We have one of those subjects that we feel like the Lord has laid on our hearts to address. And it's one of those subjects that um, us and our special guest is going to be able to talk to from experience. Um, we will say that, in some cases, that there'll be that you might need to seek professional help. We don't claim to be professionals, but we do have lived experience, and
Yeah.
that's what we're going to share.
And the National um, Suicide Hotline is 988. You can call that or text that, and someone will talk with you or
Amen.
chat with you. And so, yeah, reach out. But tonight, yeah, we're going to talk about mental health and
Spirit,
aspects of spiritual suicide and suicide.
yeah, and just spiritual wellness, like all wrapped up in one.
Yeah.
And we have a special guest, so ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Misty Lawson.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm trying to get us in the group. Mickey always kind of starts early, and then I'm always looking down, and I'm just like, it takes me a minute or two to share the link over to the page. So
Oh,
I'm not ignoring. I'm just I gotta get this into the group, and then yeah. But yeah, we're ready.
Yeah, but yeah, you know, Sister Misty, we've talked about this before. This is definitely one of the a couple of topics actually that we might even have to do over a couple of episodes, like in a series. But we wanted to touch on um, depression and anything else that you can think of.
yeah. I think it's important, especially for it seems to be hitting our teens a lot these last couple of years. The younger ages, probably, well, from my experience, starting at like 13, as
Yeah,
young as 13, it seems to really be something strong in the school system. And I think it's important to address it uh, from my experience. I didn't realize that it was really such a big deal at first. Like, I
yeah.
didn't realize how strong it was in children.
I know for me, like I remember growing up, one of the things I struggled with is I dealt with a lot of bullies and stuff like in my younger teenage years. And one of the things that was, I don't know if you could say if it was better back then, but one of the reliefs I had back then was like when you came home, school was kind of like shut off. And like now,
Yeah,
though, like when kids come home, it's like they don't really get to turn off from that world because like with social media, it's like
yeah,
they can be bullied all day at school and come home and still be bullied all night at home too.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
a good point. Yeah.
I think that social media is one of the biggest influences of teen mental health and suicide and suicidal tendencies. I think a lot of it has to do with the social media now.
Mhm.
Yeah. So what kind of advice would you give parents, like what kind of signs should they look for, like if their kids are being affected by um just the negative effects of social media, like what kind of signs would the kids be showing if there's a negative if there's negative effects going on.
Um, well, in my case, uh, well, I'll go ahead and say so with my daughter. I won't mention her name, but one of my children. there was no signs at first. I had no idea. And then she actually she had came to me a couple times and she told me that she thought she needed help.
Mhm.
And at first, like, um I I there was people she was hanging around that was doing things, and I kind of thought she just wanted to kind of be like them and do the same things they were doing, for the attention and
Yeah.
just because she thought it was cool. So when she would tell me that she needed help, I didn't really take it to the extremes because I didn't know better. I didn't realize how it bad it was or how she was being affected. Um, I don't know that it was necessarily the social media causing hers or affecting her so much as it was actually some of the people she was around. That,
Yeah.
Mhm.
some of her friends, her close friends, and even now, so this I noticed it kind of started with us at her maybe being, I think, the age of 13 or 14, and even now, I've gotten better at noticing her specific signs for her diagnosis,
Mhm.
but just anybody that she's around, they wouldn't notice because she's real good at masking and still smiling and acting like
Yeah.
she's okay when she's not.
Yeah.
And if you want
So
to go ahead and, for our listening audience, describe what masking is, because that is a um, characteristic that teens are very good at doing.
yeah, she like at home, she can be really depressed. Like um, so she has manic depression. There will be times when she will just lay in bed all the time and sleep off and on, doesn't want to be around her friends, doesn't want to do anything, doesn't want to come out of her room. There has been times where it's been so bad that she's went days without even a shower.
Mhm.
And at home. But now, like when she's out in public, because let's just say, like at our church, we have youth nights on. It's like every other Wednesday we have youth nights. So if she goes there, masking for her is she puts on a normal face. She
Mhm.
smiles. She talks. She engages. She laughs. And she acts like she's okay and nothing's wrong. But as soon as we get home and she hits that door, or well, actually, as soon as she gets pretty much, I mean, in the car on the
Yeah.
way home,
Yeah.
she's right back to, um, she don't even, so music is a big part of her life. And in those moments, she won't even listen to her music. Or if she does have her music on, she doesn't sing along to it. She's a completely different person.
So let's step back for like a second, like, because I think it's important to note too that you actually got her help. Because, like,
I did.
I know, like, sometimes in a lot of church settings, especially like in a Pentecostal realm, like a lot of this stuff, it gets diagnosed as demons all the time. And
Right.
like we are familiar with deliverance ministries, and we've learned enough to know that not everything is a demon.
Right.
Like sometimes it's medical, it could be a chemical imbalance, but that's like where it's important to seek help from both sides, because if you're trying to cast a demon out of something that's just a chemical imbalance, then that just creates more chaos and confusion to the whole situation.
Mhm. Um, I did get her help after I realized how serious the situation was. Because I had told you a while ago that at first I didn't, I thought it was just a thing, like phase, I guess you would say, that she was
Yeah.
going through. and because of her friends and stuff doing it. But when I realized that she really did need the help and that she really did have something going on, um, I got her help. She sees a therapist and she sees a psychologist. And we got her put on, we got her diagnosed, properly diagnosed and medicated. And the medication, like, so she started off taking a medication that did not go well with her body and it made it
Yeah.
worse. It intensified all of the symptoms.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And we took her back and they changed her medication, put her on something different, and it helped for a long time. And then gradually, um, I would say probably about a year or so after her being on this medication, I noticed that things was getting bad again, and so I took her back, and they had to actually up the dose of her medication because sometimes the body can get immune to it,
Right, it plateaus.
and
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
so just the difference, like in those three phases, there's such a big difference in her with each one of those. And I personally am very thankful that I
Mhm.
did take her and get her help and got her
Yeah.
medicated because when she does not have her medicine, that's when I have to worry. Um, about her
Yeah.
suicidal thoughts and things.
And it's like a point I want to make because, like, God has like many different ways that He can heal us. And I've testified on here before. I'm on medication for depression, and if it hadn't have been for the fact that I might have lost my marriage, it's like I never would have went to get help.
Yeah.
But the thing I've learned, it's like God has so many ways to heal us. He will meet
Mhm.
us like where we are. Um, the way I look at my medication is, it's like I know God is the healer. I thank God that He provided a way for man to make medication, and like
Absolutely.
every time that I take it, and don't hear what I'm not saying, but it's almost like a spiritual experience because I thank God every time that I take it because it's a reminder that He is helping me save my marriage. By now, let me say this too, and we talked about this before. I do know that if something ever happened that the meds were here no more, I know God is able to make a way. I just know that in this season now, this is what He is having me do to remind myself of who He is, and
Yeah.
more importantly, who I am without Him, because I know without His provision, I probably wouldn't be where I'm at now.
Mhm.
Well, so I I know and I believe in God healing things too, and I believe in the casting out the demons and the spirits and things, and I do know that different things and situations is a demonic presence attached to you. But like in my daughter's case, as young as she is, and I mean I've taught her, and she's always grew up in the churches with me, but her her mental capability, like I can tell her all day long, God can deliver you from this.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But when she gets in an episode, because hers comes in episodes,
Yeah.
when she's in an episode, a downward spiral, she doesn't think about God. She doesn't think about her friends. We've had conversations, and I'm like, where is your mind at? What was you thinking? She doesn't care about anything when she's in that situation. The only thing that she truly cares about is finding a way to make herself feel better.
Yeah.
Uh, and what I mean by that is not picking up her Bible and reading it, not
Mhm.
playing gospel music. What I mean is she wants to self harm. And
Mhm.
she has to see herself bleed and she has to feel pain from it. That is what makes her feel better in her episodes.
So is
So
would you say it's almost like she goes numb and like for her like when she does the self harm like that's it's almost like being I don't want to say
that's brought
addicted.
back to life,
Yeah, it's like that sensation of the cut like gives like that little jolt of
being alive.
yeah.
Oh, exactly. Because she tells me, she's real good now to come to me after I did get her help and stuff. And I was able to go to a couple therapy appointments with her, which now, and I'll tell you, if they don't want you in the room, you're not allowed in there.
Yeah.
Right.
So now I don't go in the room with her and her therapist. I'm not allowed to. And that's okay with me, but she's to come to me and try to talk to me. She always lets me know when she says, Mom, I don't feel good. I know what she means. It doesn't mean she's sick, she has a headache. It means she's in an episode and she's wanting to self harm.
Yeah.
But she tells me I feel numb. I don't know how to explain it except I feel numb. My mind is numb. My body's numb. And then the only way for her to bring herself out of that feeling is to actually feel the pain. And, they give her little tips like flipping a rubber band on your wrist and this and that. But for her, she has to literally see herself bleed. She has to see the blood.
Hmm.
So, with her being able to talk with you openly about when she's feeling this way, um, as a parent, it's you obviously you can't like scold your child or you know just it's like how do you deal with that? Like as a parent, your child is telling you this, and then your automatic reaction may be to quit, stop it, you're hurting yourself. And those are obvious things to say. So, how do you redirect or to allow her expression to cope?
So at first, my initial reaction was I was upset and I was jumping
Mm-hmm.
on to her and I can't believe you're doing this
Yeah.
and I don't know what you're thinking, scolding her.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And after going to therapy with her and studying on her specific diagnosis and things and learning her episodes, her downward spirals, just everything,
Mm-hmm.
it's helped me a lot. Now, um, it's really hard. It's hard as a parent because in one aspect, you almost feel like you have to coddle them and baby them because you automatically think, what if I say something or do something that is going to cause them to finally commit suicide?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always in your head. But I have to make boundaries because I have other children, and then I can't. It's hard to determine the boundaries because
Yeah.
they use that as an excuse to not want to go to school. I
Mm-hmm.
don't feel like doing my homework today. Will you come and get me? Just honestly, I don't really have a mechanism. I take it moment for moment,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
As it
Mm-hmm.
comes.
I yes, and I just try to work with her the best I can. Like if she missed a lot of school last year, I mean I will say that she had a lot of days where she didn't want to be at school. I had her go talk to her counselor, and her counselor, had advised me that if she's feeling this way and she just can't do it, to sign her out and write a parent note saying that she just needed a mental health day, and they
Mm-hmm.
would excuse it. Or like when I took her to the doctor, they was like, you need a safe word. If you have that safe word with your mom, you can text her and give her your safe word, and she'll know. come get you.
Mm-hmm.
And really, I take it moment for moment. If I feel like she's bluffing, because sometimes I can tell, um, I talk to her and tell her you need to stay. Just whatever the situation is.
Yeah.
Like I just talk
Mm-hmm.
to her, and um, if I feel like because if she's had several days where I've noticed she's just wanting to sleep and going in her spiral and things, and then she tells me that she just can't do it and can't be at school or whatever, then I know, like,
Mm-hmm.
she is in an episode.
Yeah.
So then I deal with that way. But it's so hard because you have that mom guilt, and you're like,
Yeah.
if I do something wrong, if I say the wrong thing, if I punish her, if I take her phone away, is it going to cause this to happen, or is it going to cause that? And it's such a hard situation. And honestly, I do turn to God a lot because a lot of times I'm lost. I don't know what to do, so I
Yeah.
just go to Him.
Amen.
So with school being out, have you noticed a difference like in the times between episodes? Like is it better with school being out?
Yes, but so they did up her medication just before school let out, and now she's got a boyfriend that she just adores. And so she's been doing a lot better. It's been a really long time since she's had an episode
Mm-hmm.
of any kind, depression or thoughts or
Mm-hmm.
self harm or anything. It's been a long time.
That's good.
And she's actually, I mean, it might sound bad to not label it like this, but she's actually been normal,
Mm-hmm.
laughing and joking and getting along with her siblings and not being mean and rude. And she's she's had a normal personality.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's just everything. The fact that she doesn't have to worry about school, the fact that she's got a boyfriend and her medicine was upped and everything.
And is he aware also of her medical history?
Yeah,
Or okay, that's good. Yeah.
yeah. I have talked to her about because we had talked about how a lot of times the friends and family members and whatever just a lot of times she's actually had friends of her say stuff about she's just seeking attention. She just wants attention all the time. And I told her, you need to maybe explain your situation, at least to your closest people, and
Mm-hmm.
let them know that even though it seems like you're seeking attention all the time, and you are seeking attention, but it's because you need them to help you. You're calling out, crying out for help. So it's not the attention that they think that she's actually looking for.
Yeah.
And so
It's
I
like a
talked her into telling her boyfriend and talking to him about it just so that he
yeah.
didn't feel the same way.
Because it's kind of like that's a good thing because I think um, those that you're with, your friends, your sphere of influence, they need to be aware of what's going on and everything. I don't think she may not be comfortable in sharing it with the whole world at this point, but it's at least her friendship groups would be able to assist and help her in when you're not available or not there to help. And
I would kind of advise too, like the ones that are always making the comments about her just seeking attention. It might be a sign that she needs to set boundaries
with them,
with
yeah.
them,
Hmm.
because
Well,
somebody that's really looking out for her best interest, they're not going to make a spectacle out of her like that.
right. And a lot of her close friends are the ones saying that kind of thing. And so a lot of the people supporting her is mainly the grown ups and our church family and people like that. Not really her closest friends. But
Or like if you
God
had
has been,
maybe like if you had a meeting with the closest friends and just say, look, um, I've tolerated it up to this point, but like if this is something that you keep doing from here on out, then you know just put that boundary up because like if they might not know the whole situation, but like after they know the whole situation and they continue to do it, then I think it would be best like for her not to have those voices in her sphere of influence.
yeah. Um, God has actually been shutting some of those doors for her.
Mhm.
I'm so thankful. And actually, one of the friends, uh, one of her closest, is I've noticed when all this first started happening, I had noticed it seemed like when she would go around her or to her house and things, when she would come home, it seems like when it was the strongest on her.
Mhm.
Um, that's when she would kind of start an episode or a downward spiral. And God has actually been shutting those doors
Yeah.
for her. And it's really heartbreaking for her and sad. And but
Mhm.
she understands. I've been talking to her about it, and where I've been raising her in church, she understands about God shutting doors and things. And she's a little upset, but she knows. And I mean, he's opening better doors for her with better people in her life,
Yeah.
and she knows it. So she's having a hard time kind of letting go, but she is understanding it and she's accepting, and it's been really good for her.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So I think that too, like, uh, as far as like turning to God and things and getting him to help in this situation, he has definitely been doing his part.
Amen. Well,
And I,
I think our main point tonight, if we tacked one on there, would be reach out for help because
Mhm.
just imagine like if you hadn't have reached out, you know how much harder the struggle would be.
yeah, and to take that even a little further, so this is also kind of explaining like the demonic sense behind it as well. The worst time that we had, she had actually tried to commit suicide, and she had done it by cutting her wrist. Um, so I'll talk about like the demonic part of it
Yeah.
first.
Mhm.
I had asked her, I was like, what was going through your mind? Why would you do that? Like and I wasn't doing it or like scolding her. I was really trying to understand, and I was like, I just need to understand like what you was thinking about, what was going through your head.
Yeah.
Why would you take it that far? Like, and because honestly, that was a good time that she was masking things. I had
Mhm.
absolutely no idea that anything was even wrong with her at this time. I thought she was doing good.
Yeah.
And she told me that this is where I might get a little emotional. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
She told me that said that nothing was going through her mind, that she wasn't thinking about anybody else's feelings, and
Mhm.
that she had just started doing it. And she said that it was almost like she blacked out,
Hmm.
that something took over her, and she didn't realize that she was really trying to slit her wrist until it started to hurt too bad because she went too deep.
Mm.
And when it started hurting real bad is when she snapped out of it and realized what she was doing, and she quit. But she didn't. I mean, she didn't just stop there. She continued to cut the whole, both of her arms, all the way up and down on the bottom and the top.
Yeah.
She continued to cut, and she messaged her cousin, and all she said was her name. And her cousin knew exactly, like she knew that when she had done that she needed help. So she came in here because she was staying on night that night. And she said when she came in here, there was blood everywhere. And the only thing she could think to do was grab a towel and wrap her arms up. But she didn't remember doing it. She said it was almost like she just blacked out for a minute. And so I didn't know until the next morning. I came to get her up for school, and she was asleep with like her hand up, and I seen it. And then I seen the towel and the blood, and
So
so
was that the first time you seen like the first sign of it?
no,
The cutting or
no, she had been cutting before. This was just last year, and
Okay.
she had been cutting since she was 13. Um, but this is the first time she ever actually tried to kill herself, and it was hard.
mm-hmm.
So I didn't really know what to do. Like, I had to go to work, and she had school. And I tried to get her to stay home, and she didn't want to stay home. She's like, the best thing for me is to just go to school. So I let her go to school, and I had told my husband what happened, and he said, and because he was going away to work, and he said, you have to do something. You have to take her somewhere. He said she's got to be sent away. So I went and got her from school, and the only thing I knew to do was take her down to Pathways. I was trying to get her in to see her doctor there, and
Mm-hmm.
they got her in with the therapist, and the therapist said she's got to go to the hospital because her cut's deep. And they gave me a certain amount of time to get her over there, and they said if she wasn't over there at that time, they would send CPS after me. So, I mean, if anybody's watching, it's a big deal. But
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
it ends up being a really big deal. She said, that's my job. I have to do that. She said, I can only give you so long to get her over there, or I have to call the CPS. And I said, okay. So I took her over there, and um, they treated us like criminals. She had an ankle monitor on, and we had to be put in this room where someone was constantly sitting outside watching us. They had her on suicide watch,
Mm-hmm.
and she was only allowed to get up and go to the bathroom. And they had people coming in and talking to her, and so anyways, they said that she had to be sent off, and that was just the protocol for anyone in that situation. And we were in the hospital until about 1:30 that morning. And they came and got her to take her away. And she was crying and begging me not to make her go. But I didn't have a choice. I was going to make her, or they was making her. And they strapped her down on a gurney, and she wasn't allowed to move, and it was just crazy. But they took her, and she went down to I forget the name of the place, but it was down in Erlanger, Kentucky, and they kept her for a week. And she was allowed to call me, but every time she'd call me, she'd cry. Promising me she'd do better. And that she just wanted to come home, and that she didn't belong there. And, but, I have to say that even though that was the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my life as a mom, it was the best thing I could have done for her.
Yeah.
I'm so thankful that she went and she got the help that she needed. And
did this visit away actually lead to her diagnosis?
No,
Okay, so she got her
was
diagnosis
diagnosed.
before.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the first time ever was so I'm a dead sleeper. Like, I slept through the fire alarm one night. It was going off and I slept through it. So I woke up and there was a bunch of like messages on my phone from my son and her. I was like, what in the world is going on? I didn't understand, I'm like, what are they wanting? And long story short, she had cut her wrist in the middle of the night. But now this is nothing like what I just told you. This was just little cuts. Yeah. And I didn't, like, she was trying to message me and stuff to wake me up. She didn't want to come in there and wake me up because she was afraid of getting in trouble. And her dad was actually working this time too, but she had messaged her brother, and she was like, I just cut my wrist. And it was just as simple as that. He didn't know any details or anything. So there was a bunch of missed calls on my phone from him. And I didn't think anything about it because they didn't say anything. There was just a bunch of missed calls and stuff. So I was like, well, okay. So I got up and got ready and went to work. And I get this must have been summertime too because they wasn't in school. Because my kids are old enough, I just get up and I leave for work and leave them home in the bed asleep. And I didn't even bother checking on her or anything. I just went to work, and my mom had called me. And she said, why didn't you tell me that she had cut her wrist last night? And I said, what are you talking about? And I was like, go check on her. She's home by herself. I don't know if she's laying up there dead or what, And so
you had no clue what she
I had
was
no
talking
idea.
about. Yeah.
And then finally, I figured it all out, and that's when I found out it was cutting. And I realized then, I was like, she really does need help. She's been coming and telling me that she thought she needed to talk to somebody, and I didn't. But she never, like, told me that she was doing that. I didn't know. I didn't know how serious it was. So that's when I got her help. I got her in Pathways, and they diagnosed her then with type 2 bipolar manic depression. And that was probably when she was 14. But the actual suicidal episode
Oh no. Hopefully it didn't freeze.
Yeah, Misty may have to hop back on
killing
here.
herself. And she
Yeah.
said, I don't know. She said, I wasn't thinking. And she said, I just blacked out. I didn't even know I was doing it until it started hurting really bad. So, I mean, the only thing I could think is it's demonic, and they were trying to take her out.
Absolutely.
Well, I think by that happening and her receiving treatment outside of what you were giving her, like she had to get treatment from an outside facility. I think that was the door opening for you to assist and help her and pray for her spiritually and
Yeah,
to you know it was like you were able, your eyes were opened to what was actually happening. And so, and that's what the enemy tries to do, is to hide and, to disguise things. But it was brought to the light through this situation.
And
yeah,
the awesome thing now is it's like now you can bring both sides of the equation to the table. It's like now it's like you're able to have the spiritual conversation with the medical conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So now that kind of like the medical side's worked out, I feel like the Lord is going to teach her, and we're willing to help you guys out with this, because I feel like the Lord is wanting to train her up when she feels the symptoms coming on,
yeah,
because she knows the Lord, right?
yes,
Because see, like now it's becoming like a thing where he's trying to mock the authority that she doesn't know how to walk in yet, and
yeah,
that's what I feel like her next step should be, is learning how. Now, I'm not saying give up medicine or
Yeah,
don't
not,
hear don't
yeah,
hear what
that's
I'm not
not what
saying,
we're saying.
because like
no, yeah,
you can combine both,
Yeah.
um, but it's like God. I feel like God is wanting her to spiritually mature, to learn how to go in spiritual warfare, because it's gotten to a place where the bullies kind of like pushed her around long enough, and now like the Lord is going to help her fight back, is going to give her the
yeah.
tools to take authority over it.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of goes along with what I was saying earlier too about she wasn't mature enough,
Mm-hmm.
to know how to fight back
Yeah.
spiritually. And I mean, I could do it for all day long, which I know my prayers and stuff is what has protected her.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
But if I
and
say,
your mommy's prayers too.
Mm-hmm.
We're frozen in time.
It's like when it gets good, it freezes up.
Like there she is.
Yeah.
Like
sorry,
glove,
I told
where did
Mickey,
it
I
cut
said
off
it's
at?
getting good, and then
and then it
I'm
then
freezes.
not
it
picking my
freezes.
nose. I'm picking my.
No, it's
I
like
was,
we know that the prayer that you and your mom both have prayed in the church has, greatly helped her and protected her, and it's it's almost like she's at that age of accountability to where God's going to be opening up her spiritual eyes
yeah,
to
Yeah,
see what's going on.
yeah. Um, she's getting more mature now to
Mm-hmm.
where she can learn how to fight that back spiritually and pay attention and listen to the voices that's in her head and know, the difference between them.
Mm-hmm.
I've came in her room before at night when she's sleeping and she's got like Christian music playing on her TV or the Bible app playing on her phone, and so she knows,
Mhm.
and they want to mainly attack her in the night when
Yep.
she's not around anybody. She's feeling lonely. Know, her mind's not busy, so they're trying to occupy her mind with,
Yep.
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
um, she's she's learning how to do that, and now of course with her boyfriend, they talk all night on the phone, and they actually fall asleep. It's a little corny, but they fall asleep on the phone together at night.
Ew, gross.
But yeah, ew. But it's helped her
this this is a
tremendously.
Yeah.
Christian program here.
We've all been there.
Um, I
Yeah,
would never,
me and Tammy
I
used
would
to fall
never
asleep to
regret.
our snores.
Yeah, I get to listen to aliens and Bigfoot going to sleep. So
Yeah.
we listen to aliens and Bigfoot podcast. Um, I'll never regret getting her medicated and having
Yeah.
her on medicine.
Mhm.
I won't. I think it's okay to be a Christian and be on medication for
Yeah.
Yep.
certain things.
Mhm.
And
Um,
that's like we were talking about yesterday. It's like, why not be the best you can be? Because like if you're going unmedicated, you can't serve the Lord to your very best, capacity.
yeah, if she was going unmedicated, well, first of all, she may not even be here right now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And second, if she didn't have her medication, all she heard was the voice of the enemy and telling her she wasn't good enough and she was this and she was that and was not this and was not that,
Yeah.
and now the medication gives her the right amount of everything in her brain that she can think clearly and think normally,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know, and she can put the worship music on her TV or open her Bible app and she can focus on that instead of the voice of the enemy.
Mhm.
And even as adults, like I'm sure all of us can relate, it's not easy to get into your Bible and accept who God says that you are in Him. Even though
Right.
if you agree with it, it's hard to walk it out.
Yeah. And with everything like that being hard for adults, I could imagine for a teenager.
Yeah.
Right.
And then going to school and all the temptation that you're around and wanting to be like your friends and fit in with the crowds, and it's 100 times harder for them.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that that's the one way that the enemy is attacking our youth is through their mind and their mental health.
Yeah.
That's one of the
Absolutely.
the biggest number one reasons that or ways that he is able to get to the youth, and social media has a lot to do with it because you can easily bully people on social media.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Even
it go
people across the world that don't know you can bully you,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, we found that out on here too.
and well,
Well,
and girls these days they see all the skinny and the pretty and the perfect, and and they want to be like that as well. And um, too though, so Kylie, um, since she was 12, has been diagnosed with PCOS.
mhm.
And so with her having PCOS alone, she has a greater risk of depression anyways.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's part of the PCOS. So I mean, it's chemically, it's genetically, um, it all has to do with the enemy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
It, yeah, like I said, it's like I'm thankful that God still makes a way that in some form or another, whichever way that we're willing to accept it, he has given us help.
Yeah. And you're
yes,
bringing
absolutely.
awareness to not only our listeners, but also those that you come in contact with. I'm sure you share the testimony of what the Lord has done in her life and what He can do. And so we are very excited that the Lord is using you and
Amen.
Yeah,
He's put a fire in you that the enemy cannot stomp out. And your
that-
voice is going to be great and mighty, and so is hers.
and she might not
Yeah,
believe it, but there's going to be a day that when she gets older, she's going to testify about these times,
Mhm.
just like
well,
I am now.
she
And
has testified in church about it,
Mhm.
and she's testified how the Lord has helped her through it and stuff. And then
Amen.
I was asked to testify one night, and I was like, well, Kylie's kind of gave you her side of it, but let me testify as
Yeah.
a mother
Yeah,
that
Right.
has to
yeah,
Yeah.
deal with this. Because it's hard. Um, I ain't gonna lie, when she came back from Erlanger, I was scared to death to go to sleep at night.
yeah,
Yeah.
I was on pins and needles for about a week when she came home because I just didn't know what was going to happen. And
Right.
it's hard to try to go to sleep at night wondering if you're going to wake up to your child dead or not.
Mm.
and
And
then I'd say the anxiety of checking on her before you went to work too.
yeah, yeah, coming in here and looking around. I mean, little things, looking for blood anywhere, looking, and so when she was in Erlanger, I had to completely go through her room. They told me before she could come home, I had to clean out her room, anything sharp, and and
Yeah.
I found out. Um, I don't know if I should say it because I don't want to give people um the know-how of how she was doing it, but I'll just say that I found all kinds of razor blades, and
Mhm.
and I had to put razors up for a long time. She was only allowed one razor when she took a shower. I had to time her. I'd take it from her. I had to put
Yeah.
all my knives. You know, it
Mhm.
it takes a harder toll on somebody than what just. I mean, people that don't go through it and don't know it, there's
Yeah,
no way that they could understand it because
Yeah.
there's so much to it. It's so hard. Um, and I'll tell you what I've learned through every bit of it is I have learned to not take the good days for granted.
yeah,
Yeah. That's good.
I thank God every time there's a good day and she's doing good and I'm seeing her smile and laugh and just be normal.
Yeah.
I have learned to not ever take that for granted.
one thing that we can share with you, like through a lot of the years that we've been in church, a good majority of them we've been youth pastors, and we can say over the years, especially among the teenage girls, this issue is more common than what more people realized.
Yeah.
And it's like, and we're talking in different counties, and
Different counties, different churches,
yeah,
but
Yeah,
it's a spiritual attack against our young people. Yeah.
yeah,
it absolutely is.
Mhm.
And if they don't know how, like, take someone that's not brought up in church or knows nothing about spiritual warfare and stuff and don't know how to fight it back.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of them lose their life because they don't really know better.
Mhm.
And I mean, that too, I'm so grateful for a good church and church family and friends and things that at least my children know,
amen,
they know if it's a demonic attack and they
Yeah.
know that it's a spiritual and they're not afraid to talk about it. They're not ashamed to say
Yeah.
this is spiritual. This is something spiritual attacking me.
yeah, amen. Well, I guess that'll wrap it up for this episode. We will definitely have you on again if you'd like to
Mhm.
come back on sometime, and we'll talk about any other aspect of mental and spiritual wellness.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
can't thank you enough for sharing your testimony, and it's
Yeah, your
yeah,
transparency and your honesty as a parent, it's going to definitely help. Somebody listening to this is definitely going to receive help.
thank you
and
so much.
one thing I can definitely say though, watch out for what God does with that one. Because
I'm telling
I can
you,
tell you she has a big calling on her life,
Yeah.
yeah,
and I've
they
shared
so
this with you.
good.
I've shared this with you before. She in one of our youth events, she actually gave her first sermon And like the first time she gave it, it's like I about sat down and just wanted to quit because I've been thinking I've been doing this
Yeah.
for 15 years, and she just walks up here and like "Ah," and knocks it out of the
Yeah,
park.
So she does
she's
have the word in her.
yeah, yeah, and she when they have youth group and stuff at church,
Hmm.
she does not care to she doesn't care to testify. She doesn't care to answer the questions and ask the
Yeah.
questions and engage. And
Yeah.
I think too that definitely something because she wouldn't be being attacked so hard if
Right.
there wasn't
Absolutely.
something
Hmm.
there.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I guess we'll go ahead and wrap everything up. Um, yeah, just let me know whenever,
When you're ready.
yeah, when you're
Yep.
ready, and we will tackle it again.
Hmm.
Well, yeah, well, we can also tackle the mental health in the adults because
Yeah. Hmm.
I am
Right.
also on medication, so
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
don't care but to talk about it.
Yeah.
absolutely. It's like we're trying to be the help that we wished we had before before we got the
Exactly.
help.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, alrighty, everybody. We will
Someone's
see.
always something to do.
Yeah, we will see you guys next Tuesday.
Have a good
All
week.
right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
God
Love
bless.
you.